My name is Adam Snigowski. I'm a guitar player, producer, and songwriter. I'm from a town called Leadington, Michigan. It's pretty far north, right on the shores of Lake Michigan. It's a really small town, 8,000 people, very blue collar. There's not much to do there. Pretty much anything we do revolved around the outdoors. Growing up, the things I liked to do were just hanging out in the woods, Boy Scouts, camping, fishing, hunting again. That's kind of what we do up north. Because of the long winters and just the fact that it is such a small town, most people work in the factories or something in that line of work. Music was never something that I thought about as a job. I loved music. My mom always told me that from the time I was little, I would be banging on pots and pans and making guitars with sticks and rubber bands, but it was just something you did for fun. Real people didn't get to do music for a living. In 2004, I came out to Kansas City to do an internship for young musicians, and during that time, I began playing with one of the artists in Kansas City. I always thought it would be something I did for a little while, but that eventually I would go back to school, go to college, and get a real adult job. After playing for a few years, I got asked to play with some different artists as well, and loved doing that, and the timeline for me going back to school really just kept expanding. And during that time, I was afforded the opportunity to get to play on some records and fell in love with the process of not just the experience of playing live, but getting to put these tones on tape that would get to last far beyond what a single show would be. And after a lot of years going from just being the guy playing guitar to getting to play on the records, being involved in the production process, and then eventually songwriting, I was able to get my own studio space here in Kansas City, which is what I'm still currently doing. I never went back to school. It's different than almost any other studio I've been in. A lot of those places are very commercial environments where you pay to rent out a space and you come in for this snapshot in time and make a record. What's so special about our studio here in Kansas City that I'm a part of is it's not a public studio. People don't rent time. It's a group of 7 people. We each have our own control rooms, but we have a lot of common spaces, a big live room. So when I show up to work, I'm showing up to work with friends. I can't imagine doing anything else for a living. One great thing about my studio that I love is it's only 2 miles from my house, so I don't have to worry about traffic or a commute. But normally I drive a Jeep, and not just a regular Jeep, but a big 8-cylinder Hemi vehicle. And it just never made sense to start up this big thing, let it warm up, drive it 1.7 miles, take it out of my garage, and then park it at the studio. The Rhino has been such a game changer on so many levels for me personally. The concept of an electric bike, an e-bike, just never was appealing to me, probably because it's called an e-bike. I love motorcycles, I love dirt bikes. So when I thought of an electric bike, it wasn't something I really ever cared to own. After having gotten the Rhino, it's been one of the most fun and enjoyable things I've done in a long time. It makes driving from my house to the studio not a chore, but something I look forward to. So even though I was afraid that this e-bike would look a little bit wimpy, to be honest, I remember driving it to the studio for the first time, and I got looks from guys on actual motorcycles. And they would go, "What is that? That thing looks awesome." And as soon as I pulled up to the studio, all the guys that I worked with, I don't think we worked for an hour because everybody wanted to come out and try riding it. And after they did, they all said they wanted to buy one. I've had quite a few different kind of vintage mopeds, dirt bikes, motorcycles over the years, and they were great. They weren't as reliable as I thought they would be. So they never became my main mode of transportation, or at least my daily driving mode of transportation. The Rhino has taken little trips, running back home from the studio to grab a cable I forgot, or just going in the morning, coming home at night. It's taken things that are normally chores and making it something I look forward to. The upkeep is practically nothing. I can charge it overnight in my garage. I can throw it in the back of my Jeep if I need to. It starts every time. And even the economy factor for someone working in the music industry, income is always up and down. You can't invest in something that could require a lot of upkeep out of nowhere. And that's something that's been so fun. I don't need a license for it. I don't need a license plate. I don't need insurance. I probably wouldn't go out right now and buy a Wave Runner or buy a four-wheeler or buy a Harley. But the fact that this is so practical for me, and it's so economical, and it's useful on a day-to-day basis. If you're like me and you were looking for something that will get you from A to B while looking like a vintage motorcycle, something that rides great, feels great, no maintenance for a great cost, and is also going to bring a lot of joy to your life, I would say get this Rhino.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who have followed along, subscribed to my channel, and liked the videos, thank you so much. For those of you who like this content, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It does really help out my channel, and thank you for doing that. Let's jump into the Haoqi Rhino e-bike. Now, this is not just a regular e-bike. This thing is, I have to say, of all the e-bikes, and we're on bike number 5 now, this thing is by far the coolest one. I think we've got the most heads turned by this bike. But let's jump into some of the specs first. We have a 48 volt, 26.1 amp hour battery that powers the 48 volt, 1000 watt motor. Now this thing actually it's pretty fast. If you saw the other 2 videos that we've put out on the channel so far, this by far will take them both. Very solid aluminum frame. It's got a really nice cargo basket, I guess you'd call that. Great build, of course, great vintage look. A really nice, it's kind of a fake leather, but it still looks cool. Fake leather seat that gives it that vintage motorcycle vibe. It's got the 7-speed Shimano gear system, as well as Shimano hydraulic brakes, which are very, very helpful because this thing can get up to about 35 if you're going down a hill. And a 400-pound payload capacity. That is probably by far one of the heaviest payloads that I've seen on an e-bike out there. This thing is very sturdy, and it's got a really great suspension on it as well. Now let's talk about price. Right now on sale, you can get this bike for $1,900. I'll put a link below and you can use that, and there is a coupon code with that. So use that link if you're looking for this. You'll get a killer deal on this bike. If it's not on sale, it's about $2,300. But at that price point, this beats out a lot of other bikes, and it's gonna be something you are, like Adam said, this is gonna be a bike that you love to ride, and you're gonna want to ride and look forward to riding this. I forgot to mention, it's got a 65 to a 90 mile range on one charge. That alone brings this thing into the category of an actual mode of transportation to and from work every single day. I think you could go a whole week, as long as you live pretty close, you could go a whole week on one charge and be good. Not only is this a recreational bike, this is also a very practical bike. Buy it for either reason, you're gonna love it for both. Thank you so much to Haoqi for sending us this bike and trying it out. I can guarantee you're gonna love this. Again, please like and subscribe if you like this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.